Okay, good morning. Before I get started, apologies, I'm not feeling too hot today. I got a really sore throat and a sort of swollen wisdom tooth. But Castlevania stops for no one. Mostly because of my commitment to that really bad joke. So, where are we today? Today we are on the original, well not the original, but one of my earlier Raspberry Pi builds. This is my workhorse Raspberry Pi. This is the one I take everywhere and do everything on, test everything on. This is the Wild Pi, which was the Zakk Wylde Black Label Society inspired Raspberry Pi case with the dual rig inside. So it's got two SD cards which you can flick between with the toggle switch, all in one confined little box. It's really cool. I really like it. And this is the one I test everything on, stream everything on, record everything on. So that's where we are today. Alright, so in the vein of this video series, what could we be looking at today? Well, we've already looked at the Castlevania Judgment, which was the Waggle game, the Waggle one-on-one fighting Soul Calibur ripoff. Then we looked at, hang on, I'm going to try and get this title right, Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles, no, was that it? Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles? I think, which was the PSP remake of Rondo of Blood in 2.5D, which I really enjoyed, actually. I like that one a lot. So where are we going today? Let's look at what happens when Konami does things a bit weird. And that's the whole sort of ethos of this series. What happens when Konami does either A, what you don't expect them to do, or B, what you do expect them to do because everyone's doing it, and they just completely do a weird one, like Judgment. So, in 1988, Konami ported Castlevania to the arcades. Now, like I said before, there is an arcade game I'm still looking for the ROM for, and it's the 2009 arcade game with the whip controller, which looks really cool. We only got the Silent Hill one in the UK, which I've played, and it's okay, not bad. It's not Silent Hill, but it's alright for a like a House of the Dead ripoff, essentially. So, Castlevania has been in the arcades before. It's also been in the arcades as part of the Versus series for Nintendo, which I actually have on here. If I go down here, yeah, look, here you go. So it's part of this Versus series. So you've got Versus the Goonies, Versus Xevious, Versus Super Sky Kid, blah 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 blah, and Versus Castlevania. So Versus Castlevania is just the NES or NES port into an arcade machine. It's as simple as, and I have seen them out. We went to a game expo when we played Versus Super Mario Brothers, which is quite famous. But yeah, you put in your money and it gives you a life or a couple of lives, and off you go. It's no different. It is exactly the same as the NES game. Exactly the same. If anything, it's a bit harder. Right, so that's not the one we're looking at today, because so there was the 2009 port, there was the Versus series port, but there was also another port. It didn't go under the name Castlevania, so quite a few people hadn't played it until, I mean, I had played it, but you'll see why I don't talk about it. So I played it before, but recently I haven't bought it, but apparently it's on the Castlevania collection on the PS4, which is great because now everyone can see how terrible it is. Spoilers. So let's look at a game called Haunted Castle. So Haunted Castle is an arcade port that came out in 1988 on the JAMMA system. And essentially what it is like a from the ground up remake. Again, Castlevania gets remade all the time. This is no different. The only difference with this one is that the Belmont in this case is, well, you'll see. You'll see. I want to draw your attention to this demo. I'm going to let it roll again while I just explain the thing. But the next time this demo rolls around, I'm just going to show you something a little bit interesting. So, what's the plot of this game? Well, the plot of this game is essentially what you're seeing here. It's Castlevania. You have to get to Dracula and kill him. That's it. That is the entire game. Where this one is different is that there's no sort of backstory as such. You don't get, you know, the Belmonts. You don't get the, you know, legendary thing. You don't get the every 100 years because it's an arcade game. No one's got time for that. So basically, what happens is you start the game, you put in your coin, you press start, and essentially it's the same plot as Ghouls and Ghosts. So this is very, 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 very much inspired by Ghouls and Ghosts. Right, let me get started here. Okay, so I've put in a coin. When I said this game wasn't very good, I mean that on two reasons why I mean that. First, it is very, very hard. Incredibly hard. Unfeasibly hard. Even for a Japanese arcade game from 1988. It is brutally difficult. The second thing is that it controls like utter garbage. So when you combine those two things together, you're not really going to have a solid play experience. Hence, Castlevani-eh, Konami, what were you thinking? Right, let's get started. Essentially, same as Ghouls and Ghosts, except instead of a devil taking your new wife, who in this case is named Selena, Dracula comes down, steals Selena, and then it's up to blue-haired Belmont to do the business. Now, like I said, this game super difficult for no apparent reason. I mean, the sprites look pretty nice for 1988. The sprite work is really nice, and you've got, you know, essentially quite gory monsters. You've got your whip, you've got your bats. Again, bats don't attack from the front, bats attack from above. Even though your whip only goes forward, the enemies don't come at you from the front. So Castlevania. Your jump is practically useless. Right, so now I have to just defeat this brick wall, which is a lot harder than... You're going to hear that sound a lot. So one coin gets you one go in the setting I've got, in the dip switch setting I've got. Let me draw your attention to the attract screen. So we call it a demo screen, but it's also known as an attract screen. Essentially something to attract you in. Watch this. Very first enemy hits you. Even the demo, he gets hit by the very first bat. Let's add some more coins, shall we? Okay, let's skip through all this. Right, so the very first bat. It's not the fact that it's not the fact that there's a lag, because there's really no noticeable lag, other than HDMI. Like, it's got HDMI lag, but that's about it. It's the fact that it just controls, like, look, I'm pressing right and he's facing left, and I'm dead already. This is going to take a while. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do this a couple of times, and then I'm going to muck around with the dip switches and see if that makes any difference. Oh my god. Your hitbox is so big. Also, I can't tell you what sub-weapons you get in this game, because I've never got one. Ever. I mean, like I said, as arcade games go, there are some insanely difficult arcade games, but this is next level difficulty. It's so brutally difficult. Right, hang on. You can't avoid this stuff. Like I said, even the demo, even the attract screen, Homeboy gets hit by the very first enemy. I'm going to try my hardest. Even, like, I've tried this with rewind features. You can't course correct in the air. You cannot course correct in the air. Alright, here we go. Even with rewind features, save states, I still can't get anywhere. And there are six stages. Well, at least so Wikipedia says. 6 stages. I can't tell you what stage. I can't tell you what the 2 minutes after the start of the game looks like. Alright, here we go. No, dead again. I keep thinking it's that purple one that's gonna disappear, but it's not. It's the one beside it. Right, let's learn the patterns. Here we go. Oh my god. Hit by the first bat. you don't have that kind of rapid response that you have in even the first Castlevania games. Like the very first Castlevania games, I don't really like them. I think 3's okay. At least you can say, well, the controls are pretty tight. The controls are not tight. These are the loosest controls you will ever see. It's a bit like... He doesn't walk fast enough! Come on, jumped how early! Right, this time, straight running. Just gonna run all the way through. See, unlike the others... So, the Wii game, the Waggle game, I hadn't played that before. Castlevania Chronicles, Dracula X Chronicles, whatever it was, the PSP one, hadn't played this before. This I have played before, and I know exactly what's coming. Or knew what was coming. So I knew going into this that this was going to be this bad. But still, oh my god. But still, I forgot how bad this game is. And I am sure there are people out there saying, oh, it's not that hard. Or, oh, you know, it looks really easy. Yeah, sure, it looks easy. You know what I mean? Like, I've played Tetris, but I've watched those boys, like, speedrun Tetris. Like, that's no joke. I'm not about to do that. Like, this might look like every other Ghouls and Ghosts kind of game that you've ever played. But trust me, if you've got a PS4 or an Xbox One or a Switch, I think this collection's out on. If you own it, you know. You know. This is a bad game. Maybe that... you know what? Maybe there's like... Oh! Hate those things. Right, so now I've got to beat this wall. Please note as well how fast these things are going. No! You can't course correct. And they go forever. You can blow them up, but the ones where you're ducking that go over your head and the ones that will hit you, it is fractional. And when they're going that fast, I don't have time to go, is that one going to hit me or do I need to jump it? You know what I mean? Because the whip doesn't do anything. Like in Castlevania games, sometimes you can get away with whipping, and the whip over your head does the business. So if something's above you, the action of pulling the whip over the top will destroy whatever's coming up above you. Not in this game. Put it this way, your hitbox is the size of a bus. Their hitbox is the size of an ear of corn. It's really, really small. No, I don't know why I try to jump him. I just figured I could try. Okay. Jump it, you swine. I swear to God. It's so brutally hard. There is no other way to explain this game. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played. Ever played. It's just you move so slow and the patterns are so... I mean, yeah, fair enough that it's the same pattern every time, but that doesn't mean that the enemies are going to come out at the same time. Or the fact that there's going to be enemies there at all. Or the fact that they won't come back. Sometimes they fly in from the left. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they double up. Sometimes they don't. It's just so inconsistent. It just makes for a really bad play experience. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Oh, am I out of money? I'm out of money. Oh no, I'm not out of money. I got money. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know what Konami was doing with this. I mean, it's a JAMMA game, and there are lots of really good games on JAMMA boards. But this is just abysmal. Don't get me wrong, it looks, at least the first, 30 seconds, look real nice. But it plays like utter garbage. It's so... It's a hard thing to quantify. Like, in the UK we had Saturday morning TV shows. Not necessarily just cartoons, but they were like magazine shows for kids. They were called Going Live, Live and Kicking. What else did we have? We had CD UK, stuff like that. And I remember in Live and Kicking and Going Live, especially Going Live, with Sarah Green and Andy Peters, and I think Philip Schofield at one point. They used to have this thing where it would be a video game on a screen, and you would phone in and shout left, right, shoot, left, right, shoot, whatever. And there would be a guy obviously on the other end of the phone with a joystick, I guess. Although the games they weren't like normal games, they were like custom built for the show, mostly because of like copyright infringement. Not copyright infringement, because the BBC licensing. The way the BBC works is you couldn't have... It was a weird licensing deal. Anyway, this feels like those games. It feels like I'm on the other end of a phone, and that whip went through that crow. It feels like... I'm going to try and blow him up. Look, watch. Right, that's a jump. That's a duck. That's a hit. See what I mean? It feels like I'm on the other end of a phone, typing in, or shouting in, left, right, whip, right, whip, right, whip. That's what it feels like. Right, so I'm out of money. I'm going to play around with the dip switches, but first things first, let me just quickly reiterate. The attract screen, whoever Belmont this is, gets hit by the very first enemy. Let's mess around with some dip switches, shall we? Alright, so let's go down into... I'm obviously running this in Final Burn Alpha. So, let's turn the difficulty to easy. Let's turn damage onto small. Let's turn... Should we just do that? Let's restart the ROM. And did that change anything? Hang on. Let's make sure that's still active. Easy and small. Let's see if that makes any difference. So this is on the easiest dip switch setting. That was my fault. But it's... weirdly, it still took the same amount of energy off me. And now they can run. Those enemies seem a lot faster. Oh, God. Oh, man. Difficulty didn't lower that hitbox, did it? Easy. 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 They can run backwards on easy. None of them ran backwards before. Oh, I'm facing the wrong way. I'm pressing right. I'm pressing right. So up, right. Right is nothing. Up is right. And down is left. So Castlevania then. The biggest enemy in Castlevania 3 is the stairs. I hate them. Everyone raves about that game. The stair mechanics, if you want to call them that, are awful. I'd like to say that even with save states and rewind and everything else, because I've got rewind on this, it works lovely. Fast forward, rewind, hang on, fast forward. Rewind. It's not an issue. The issue is me. I just can't do this. Right. That said, I am bad at games. And Castlevania games in particular, I am very, very bad at. But even still, the thing that makes me laugh the most is there's a time limit that gives me 4 minutes. I'm dead in 10 seconds, and you will give me 4 minutes. Oh. Oh, come on, man. Right. So I need to get rid of him, and then him. Right. Do him well. Which one is it? It's that one, isn't it? Can't get me again. That whip went through him. Alright, here we go. Jump. Jump. Whip. Oh my god, I thought I had that. Whip. Whip. Jump. Duck whip. Nope. I had enough time to say it, but not enough time to let my fingers do the talking. Konami, what were you thinking? Oh my god, this game sucks. It's so bad. And not just because of the difficulty, even though the difficulty is insane. Look at all those pips of energy I get. Like, when I get hit twice and it takes off 2/3 of my energy, why not just have a 3-stage health bar? You know what I mean? If you can get hit like 3 or 4 times, why does it have like 10 bits? I mean, I know that's Castlevania. That's exactly what it's like in most Castlevania games. But still, I am allowing to be hit way more in this. Like, even though it's easier, it's not easy. But it's definitely easier. I'm getting hit, or I can take more damage. Right. Okay, here we go. I've got those first 2 bats, sometimes. This guy just doesn't care. He just runs straight up to you, tries to give you a hug. Alright. It's so weird as well. When you get up them stairs, you have to physically hold up to... You have to physically hold up to go up the stairs, and then you have to press right. But if you press back, he goes down. I've never understood the stairs in Castlevania games, and this is no different. I've got to stop walking back as well, because then this guy comes, and now I've got infinite spawning zombies. How am I supposed to get across that? Oh, like that. That's how I get across that. Idiot. Don't know where he came from. Got a whip, though. 2 of them now. I swear that whip keeps going through that bat. Is it invulnerable? Okay, so... duck and... oh my god! Jump and whip. And whip. And jump. I did it again! I did it again! I don't even feel like I'm getting any closer. And considering the high score is 50,000. 50,000! I'm not even getting 4,000! Alright, here we go. There's got to be... it's a pattern. Yeah, I know it's pattern memorization. A, my memory ain't that good. And B, I've got to stop walking back. Like, I'm doing it to myself in a lot of cases. I reckon if I can get to that wall without being hit, I might see what's on the other side. Oh my god. Alright, infinite spawning zombies, don't go backwards. Or 3. Is there 3? Okay, here we go. Maybe the trick is to go like super slow. How do I kill this thing? There you go, and now he just disappears, right? Face the right way. No. Oh, I knew that. Come on, man. I was doing so well. Oh. And that's it. You know what? I'm going to have to call that there. This is Haunted Castle, 1988. JAMMA arcade board from Konami. And it is one of, not only the hardest, one of the worst games I have ever played. Mostly because it controls like absolute... I mean, it is hard to describe how bad the controls are. But even then, the difficulty is through the roof. And like I said, I've played with the dip switches, turned it to easy, and it's still brutally difficult. At that point, you've got to wonder, why would anyone play this? Is it because of the big sprites? Maybe. I mean, it looks nice. But if all I'm ever going to see... I mean, let's see. Let's roll the demo. Maybe homeboy here can get past the first couple of guys. Maybe he can get past the wall. Who knows? I can't, but maybe he can. Maybe we'll get to see Dracula. Maybe he'll finish it. Or maybe it'll be like Back to the Future, where on the Master System, where it just shows you the entire game in about 30 seconds. So you have to duck, duck. I could probably do that. I could probably do that. Let me try that. Let me try that. Maybe I... so basically, just jump the first one and then duck, right? 1 credit. Watch me 1 credit this game. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Where did that bat come from? Okay, 1 credit. Here we go. What? Look about. 1 credit. Here we go. to the end in 1 credit. Hang on a minute. I got hit once and half of my life's gone? Oh my god. And there's the other half. Well, I guess I'm not 1 credit in that game. So anyway, what are we looking at next? We've done a Wii Waggle game. We have done a PSP game. And now we have done an arcade game. So where to next? Let's look at something that Konami loves doing, and that is remakes. Now, everyone loves doing remakes, don't get me wrong, but Konami did a very special kind of remake. Yeah, a remake that no one was asking for, and also it did it twice. Very, very strange. So yeah, that's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to be going next. All right, cool. Peace.